Right guys, in my hands today, Mizuno JPX900 Driver. I'm going to test this lovely blue finish, and also, well, obviously you can't test the blue finish because it just is a blue finish. Correct, blue finish. But we'll have a look at some of the movability on this new driver from Mizuno. Looking forward to hitting this one. I used to use this version of driver and it always produced quite good numbers for me. Out at Dawlish Warren Golf Club, so we're going to do real ball testing as well as some on-course testing as well. Let's get stuck in. So Mizuno JPX900 Driver. Now I used the prior model to this and I like what they've done to the blue top. It's such a standout feature with this one. It's a lot more of a matte finish, which I'm really liking the look of. Love the little running bird logo as always, and the lipstick around the outside. Changeable neck hasn't really changed. It's going down from I think 7.5 all the way up to 11.5. It's extensive, the amount of adjustability you get on that neck. Now, one thing to bear in mind, when you start changing the loft around that much on a club, often it can open or close the face. And a new addition to this driver, which I've not seen before, is we get this little pad at the bottom which can move forward and back. It slides, you get a key and you can slide it, and it has a neutral open and close setting on it. So if the club starts not looking the way you want it to, you could possibly use that a little bit, as long as you put the club on the ground before you hit it. If you hover the club, good luck to you. To just try and change the way it sets down at the face. Now look, I'm not a massive fan of these things. I don't like moving the way it sits on the ground, but for some golfers that might allow them just to dial in a little bit more. We're getting the two weights as well here on the tracks. Now Mizuno is saying the tracks have got longer, more out to the toe and the heel, and longer as well, so we can change that weight around, move it back, move it forward, move it into the toe, move it into the heel to get that feel and that shot shape that you're after. Again, remember, these two weights can be very much overridden by your ability to control face the path or not, and also strike. So much of it more is about you than what the manufacturers can do with this club, but plenty of changeability on this one. Looks good. We're going to talk about the looks a little bit more when we get on the course, but first let's show you some dry ball testing of me hitting this on a launch monitor, and then we're going to take it out on the golf course. Mizuno JPX900, so the numbers time. Let's look at some of the data I captured off the golf course, so more in a classic fitting situation if you like. So we're averaging 261 carry. Can't stress enough to people that this is a carry number. There would be roll on top of that. The amount of people that kind of relate to my 260 as my total distance and then get confused when they're looking at other numbers. Kind of, that's carry through the air, no roll, because roll is so predicted with these machines. Even flight is predicted to a certain extent with all the launch modelers. So to include carry in there for me just kind of is a little bit pointless, certainly, especially when you take it out on the course like you'll see, where you've got you hitting into different slopes. It's where my ball goes through the air is what I'm controlling. So 261, so right in that space where everyone knows I go, around that 262 carry. It's spinning at around 2.6, it drops as low as 1.9 and goes up to as high as 3.2. So that's my strike doing that. I would place this driver around a 2.2 spin rate, hitting it really, really well, consistently. Maybe about a 2.4, but obviously you've got the changeable weights where you could manipulate that spin by 2, maybe 300 revs. I will do more tests with the weights. I've done tests with so many clubs and weights, and hopefully you're starting to learn the little effect they have over my feels and my strikes. They're really tweaking, like I say, 200 or 300 revs. I'm a pretty good striker of the golf ball with my driver, and you can see there my strike is ranging from 3,200 down to 1,900, so far outweighing what the weights can do. But that's certainly having a little effect on my feels and what have you, and how I might deliver the club over a longer period of time. Launching at 14.7, ball speed's 154. It's performing well. It's performing like I'd expect it to perform. It's a good looking driver. Let's get out on the course of it and see how I do when it's in a real gaming environment. So as I would expect, pretty good numbers from Mizuno there. Great looks. Let's give it a go on the second hole at Dawlish Warren here. Requires a very straight drive. It's very narrow if you're going to hit a drive, because really it's about a 200-yard shot off the tee. Let's see if I can hit fairway with it. Down by the ball, it is one of the best looking drivers you can buy. White lipstick around the outside, the kind of matte blue finish to the black face does look fantastic. Sits very neutral in my setting. Can I hit fairway? Slightly high flight, but that's as straight as they come. That's hitting fairway. Felt good. Slightly higher sound to what I'm used to, but I don't mind that particularly. It's just a little bit tingy. Let's give it another go. So just over the corner of that tree, and any shape going left is going to hit the gorse the other side. Any further right will not be found. Need to hit a straight one. Yeah, I think that's good. That's two pretty good drives. Do love the look at that. I think you will struggle to find a nicer looking driver from anyone. Sounds good. Flight a little bit high for me, but we're going to go and try it on some other tees as well. See what comes out of it. Liking the look and feel of that. Two not bad drives there into such a narrow fairway. One in the middle, one just missing the gorse up the left. It feels good. We're going to take it onto another tee where I can open up my shoulders a bit more. These aren't my longest drives, but they're certainly on the fairway or nearly. So now on a par 5 tee, much more open room, I'm going to go for it a little bit more. Again, the looks of this club are spectacular. I will do more tests where I move the weights around and play a bit more with this sliding bar on other videos. I'm not a massive fan of this, I will put it out there. I am someone who thought I did put the club on the floor, but when I look close at the high speed footage I take, you can see as just before I set on the ground and I do pick up to start, so I'm actually hovering the club without me even knowing. So what that does for me, I think it's so subtle, and be very careful if you're looking at open, neutral, closed. I mean, I've seen other people saying things and reading things where they're almost indicating it might affect kind of how you swing, and I don't see that really. I really don't see that. I think it's going to be there just to dial in and look at address for people more than anything else. Again, I'll say I will move the weights around on other tests and as we compare it with other clubs. So I'm just using it in my settings at the moment, which I get the best numbers from. Let's give it a hit, a bit more speed and see what I can do with it. Yeah, I mean, I do like this club. It goes a fraction high. I feel like I would need a dialing a little bit more, but it's not far off where I would game it as well. It sounds good, it feels good. And as always, that blue looks spectacular. Let's give it one more here. Yeah, I've hit that really nicely. Absolutely, I've gamed these before, I could game it again, no problem. The weights on the bottom, again, I've said with many other manufacturers, including this one, we can move this around and it makes very little difference compared to what you put in, but it can certainly dial in a feel of shaping the ball one way, as long as you then perform. Your unperforming shots, face the pass strikes will always override that. The sliding bar on the bottom, which is just changing it address, like I say, I'm not a massive fan of that. Other company, TaylorMade, did that, and again, I wasn't a big fan of what that was doing, but if it dials in a look that you want, go with that. Post comments down below, what do you think of it? Again, Mizuno, a company that just kind of dip out on wood sales, don't they? And I don't know why, because they make good performing clubs. We're such creatures of habits, aren't we, us golfers? Follow me on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, Periscope, all the normal social places. Also, come and visit my new website, markcrossfieldgolf.com. See you over there.